600 men dead, killed by their loving wives. For over 20 years, Giulia Tofana had operated the most sophisticated murder-for-hire operation in European history, hidden in plain sight, disguised as something innocent, something holy. A small glass vial, a few colorless drops, and husbands across Italy simply stopped breathing. The authorities listening to her confession felt their blood run cold, because among those 600 dead men, noblemen, merchants, politicians, and the women who killed them, they were still out there, walking the streets of Rome, attending Mass, sleeping beside their new husbands. To understand Aqua Tofana, you must first understand what it meant to be a woman in 17th century Italy. Marriage was not a choice, it was a transaction. Young women, sometimes barely teenagers, were sold into matrimony like property, their dowries negotiated between fathers like livestock at market. Once married, a woman had no rights, no autonomy, no escape. Divorce did not exist. If your husband beat you, you endured it. If he gambled away your family's fortune, you suffered in silence. If he brought disease home, you accepted it as God's will. Marriage was dead. And turned out could be purchased. Enter Giulia Tofana. Born around 1620, likely in Palermo, Sicily, Giulia came from a family already intimately acquainted with poison. Her mother, Tofania d'Adamo, had been executed in 1633 for murdering her own husband with arsenic. But rather than serve as a warning, her mother's death became an inheritance. Giulia didn't just learn from her mother's mistakes, she perfected them. Giulia Tofana was not merely a poisoner, she was a chemist, an entrepreneur, a ghost. Her creation, Aqua Tofana, was a masterpiece of deadly elegance. The formula combined arsenic, lead, and extract of belladonna into a perfectly calibrated solution. But what made it truly diabolical wasn't the ingredients, it was the delivery. Aqua Tofana was completely colorless, completely odorless, completely tasteless. It dissolved invisibly into wine, soup, or water, and it left absolutely no trace that the Ares medicine could detect. But here's where Giulia's genius revealed itself. She didn't sell her poison in suspicious bottles. Instead, she disguised Aqua Tofana as cosmetics, face cream, makeup, and most brilliantly, as manna of Saint Nicholas of Bari. Picture this, a small ornate vial, decorated with the image of a saint, sold openly as a devotional oil blessed by the church. Women kept these vials on their vanities, on their nightstands, even in their prayer rooms. Husbands saw them every day without suspicion. After all, what could be more innocent than holy water? What could be more innocent than a wife's beauty routine? Giulia Tofana did not work alone. Over 20 years, she built an empire of death that stretched across Naples and Rome, a network of trusted women who served as both salesmen and confidants. Her daughter, Giulia Tofana, became her right hand. Together, they recruited accomplices from every level of society, midwives who visited homes without suspicion, servants who had access to kitchens, and apothecaries who could source the raw ingredients. The clientele? Desperate wives from across the social spectrum. A noblewoman trapped with a violent alcoholic, a merchant's wife whose husbands spent their savings on gambling and prostitutes, young brides forced into marriage with men 3 times their age. These women came to Giulia in secret, often through whispered referrals from friends who had already become widows, and Giulia gave them more than poison, she gave them instructions. 4 to 6 drops in the morning coffee, wait 3 days. Another few drops in the evening wine, wait again. The victim would first feel weak, then feverish, then bedridden. Over the course of weeks, sometimes months, a healthy man would appear to waste away from some mysterious illness. But in 1659, everything changed. a young wife in Rome, bought Aqua Tofana with the intention of killing her husband, but as she prepared to administer the first dose, something shifted inside her. Guilt, fear, perhaps love she didn't know she still had. Whatever the reason, she could not go through with it. Panicking, she confessed to her husband, and her husband went straight to the papal authorities. What followed was one of the most extensive criminal investigations in Roman history. Under intense interrogation, the woman revealed where she had purchased the poison. That led to another woman, then another, then another. Each confession pulled at a thread that unraveled Giulia's entire network. Giulia herself attempted to escape by seeking sanctuary in a church, a medieval rite that could protect criminals from arrest on holy ground. But the authorities, backed by the Pope himself, were not deterred. They spread rumors that Giulia had poisoned the city's water supply, inciting public outrage. Mobs demanded her head. Dragged from sanctuary, Giulia and her